Picture this.
Call me! Financially! You want the bad side of me? Now you're gonna get it!
A man storms into a bar like Zeus with a Bluetooth headset. Glass shatters, menus fly, someone is crying in the walk-in freezer. And at the center of it all stands Jon Taffer, veins bulging, voice cracking, screaming about raw chicken like it personally betrayed him. This is how America met him. Not as a consultant, not as a businessman.
Even as her business fell apart around her, Karen maintained her seat at the bar.
But as a human foghorn in a blazer. For over a decade, Jon Taffer was sold to us as the last adult in the room, the alpha of hospitality, the guy who would scream failing bars back into profitability. Bar rescue wasn't just a show, it was a fantasy. A fantasy where yelling is leadership, humiliation is mentorship, and every problem—
Don't you have something to drink or something?
I'm working. It's called networking.
can be fixed with a new POS system and a slightly darker shade of paint. And for a while, it worked. Or at least it looked like it worked. Bars reopened, owners hugged, revenues allegedly tripled. Cue inspirational music. Cue John pointing aggressively at a clipboard.
No morals, no ethics.
The message was clear. Chaos exists because weak people exist, and Jon Taffer is here to cure them.
And there's our security guy.
I'm the only one.
He likes to be called sick.
But yelling is a terrible long-term business model. Eventually, people stop listening. And once the shouting fades, all that's left is the math, the ethics, and the receipts. And Jon Taffer has plenty of receipts, lawsuits, controversies, industry backlash, viral clips that aged like milk, a public image that slowly shifted from tough love genius—
They're not even operating a bar in there. This is chaos.
to angry uncle yelling at clouds. This is the story of how a bar savior became a punchline, how bar science turned into bar theater, and how a man who built a career on rescuing others couldn't quite rescue his own reputation. Before Jon Taffer became a walking decibel meter on cable television,
Let's stop this. She's hitting her.
he was something far less memeable, a guy behind a bar learning the business the hard way. Born in 1954 in Great Neck, New York, Taffer entered the nightlife world in the early 1970s, an era when bars weren't Instagrammable concepts but smoky cash machines that lived or died by vibes, volume, and whether the bartender skimmed from the till.
Look at this, Russ. Karen is sitting at the end of the bar, ringing a bell for drinks.
He started bartending in West Hollywood in 1973 while moonlighting as a drummer, because of course he did. It was the 70s. Everyone was either in a band or lying about being in a band.
My wife was like, why don't we call it O-Face?
By the late 70s and early 80s, Taffer moved from pouring drinks to managing nightclubs in Los Angeles, eventually taking control of bar operations at the legendary Troubadour. This is where his worldview hardened. Staff will steal if you let them. Systems matter more than feelings, and chaos is the enemy of profit.
I believe that you could do this.
John turns money pits.
Clean the place out.
In 1989, he opened his first bar as an owner, crossing from employee to entrepreneur and cementing the idea that he wasn't just yelling from the sidelines. He'd been in the trenches. His reputation grew quietly. In the 1990s, Taffer helped develop the NFL Sunday Ticket, permanently linking bars, football, and drunk people screaming at televisions. It was a genuinely smart innovation, positioning him as someone who understood not just hospitality,
But this is the worst trailer I've ever seen.
but consumer behavior. By the 2000s, he was president of the Nightclub and Bar Media Group, running trade shows, publishing industry magazines, and branding himself as a thought leader long before he became a TV character.
You guys ready for some shots?
You notice there's no customers in this place?
Then came the perfect storm. The late 2000s recession crushed small businesses, bars were closing nationwide, and reality TV had discovered that audiences loved watching experts fix other people's failures. Gordon Ramsay was already screaming in kitchens. America was primed for a bar version. In 2011, Bar Rescue premiered on Spike TV, and Jon Taffer stepped into the spotlight armed with decades of experience and a personality engineered for confrontation. The audience loved it. The formula was simple. Failing bar, broken owner, explosive entrance, emotional breakdown, dramatic makeover.
You better not take that shot, Amanda. Are you serious? Are you serious?
Taffer became the face of discipline in a culture that equated confidence with competence. He wasn't just fixing bars, he was selling certainty in an uncertain economy, and people bought it. The problem with building your brand on absolute authority is that the moment you're wrong, you're not slightly wrong, you're exposed. Jon Taffer's first cracks didn't come from casual viewers. They came from the people who actually work behind bars.
Her head hits that concrete. You're out of business. That's assault. If she got hurt, she could sue you.
The ones who know the difference between mezcal and mescaline. The ones who don't think screaming is leadership. By the mid-2000s, something shifted. Bar Rescue was still airing. The ratings were fine. The yelling was louder than ever. But credibility started leaking out through the seams.
Gave them an ultimatum and left. That was my first night. Totally unproductive.
In 2014, the show crossed a line even reality TV struggled to defend. In the episode later pulled from circulation, a bar owner was shown making sleazy comments toward Taffer's wife, Nicole, triggering a nuclear on-camera meltdown. Drinks were thrown, shirts were ripped. The moment was framed as righteous fury. Then came the lawsuit. The owner, Dr. Paul Wilkes, alleged the confrontation had been staged. According to court filings, producers encouraged him to flirt aggressively for drama, while Taffer allegedly watched off-camera before storming in. Wilkes claimed Taffer assaulted him on camera, throwing drinks, tearing clothing, swinging at him, turning bar science into something closer to professional wrestling with liquor licenses.
You beat the hell out of that girl on purpose?
Which, apart from being inappropriate, could lead to a lawsuit.
The case was later settled privately in arbitration. The episode quietly disappeared. No explanation, no clarification, just erased. That wasn't the end. In 2016, Taffer gave a Huffington Post interview that detonated his credibility overnight. He claimed tequila, because it's related to mezcal, could have hallucinogenic properties similar to mescaline. Yes, that mescaline. According to Taffer, tequila might make you talk to someone who's not there.
Tell me why I want to stay, Mac.
I don't know why the hell you're still here.
The bartending world exploded. Mixologists, spirits historians, and anyone with a basic understanding of chemistry mocked the claim relentlessly. Twitter lit up. Articles dissected it. The Huffington Post corrected the piece, but the damage was permanent. Within days, a Facebook group called Bartenders Against Jon Taffer amassed thousands of members. Memes spread. Screenshots circulated. The narrative snapped into place. This wasn't misunderstood expertise. It was loud confidence untethered from facts. Bartenders began scrutinizing everything. His tipping advice, his disdain for shift drinks, his claim that the old-fashioned was underrated. The consensus was brutal. Taffer didn't understand modern bar culture and didn't respect the people who actually keep bars running. Taffer doubled down. Critics, he said, were snobby bartenders. His rules were for owners, not staff.
After Jon Taffer rescued Badlands, our sales increased, we had a lot more customers.
The subtext was clear. I'm right, you're emotional. That logic works on cable TV. It collapses online. That same year, a former employee filed a lawsuit accusing Taffer of discriminatory hiring practices, alleging he favored young, attractive women and fostered a sexist workplace culture. The allegations were never adjudicated in a public trial, but the optics clashed violently with the image he sold on television. Headlines followed. TMZ picked it up. The Wrap covered it. The disciplinarians suddenly looked undisciplined. Bar owners began speaking out too. Online, a pattern surfaced. Descriptions of rescues being rolled back, concepts quietly abandoned, bars that didn't survive long term. Reddit threads questioned the show's effectiveness. YouTube videos asked whether Bar Rescue was fake. Not conspiratorially, but analytically. Still, Taffer kept yelling.
Mark, I wonder why he isn't spending more time here, at least to back up his fiancée.
Then came 2021. On Fox News, discussing COVID-era labor shortages, Taffer compared unemployed restaurant workers to
who trains military dogs, Laura, and they only feed a military dog at night because a hungry dog is an obedient dog.
Hungry dogs. He said a hungry dog is an obedient dog, implying that cutting benefits would force workers back. The clip went nuclear. Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, YouTube, major headlines everywhere. This wasn't niche backlash, it wasn't bartenders, it was everyone. People who had never seen Bar Rescue now knew Jon Taffer as the guy who compared workers to animals. Newsweek covered it, Business Insider covered it, Variety covered it, fans announced boycotts, memes turned vicious. And when it emerged that Taffer's own businesses had accepted pandemic relief loans, the hypocrisy sealed the narrative. He apologized within 48 hours, called it a terrible analogy, said he regretted it. It didn't matter. The fantasy collapsed. Jon Taffer wasn't the bar savior anymore. He was a case study. An ego, reality TV distortion.
Let me ask you a question. How busy is the other place right now?
It's not that busy.
Why the hell weren't you here?
And what happens when a persona built on domination collides with a culture that's moved on. Jon Taffer didn't just lose viewers, he lost relevance. The world changed, the industry evolved, and the thing that once made him watchable became the reason people tuned out. Bar Rescue sells control in an era that no longer worships it. Its philosophy rests on outdated assumptions.
Good job, guys, good job. When I see John, I was feeling very nervous and apprehensive and scared of what's gonna happen next.
That fear creates excellence, that humiliation builds loyalty, and that authority must be loud to be real. In the 2010s, that read as tough love. In the 2020s, it reads as workplace abuse with dramatic lighting. Bar science aged poorly too. What once sounded proprietary now feels like repackaged common sense wrapped in buzzwords.
Okay, they're robbing.
So you don't know what the hell you're doing?
Okay.
Why do you look at her and say you do?
Clean your bar, track inventory, don't poison customers. These aren't revelations, they're the bare minimum. As bar culture shifted toward creativity, sustainability, and staff well-being, Taffer's owner-first worldview began to feel not just old-fashioned, but hostile. The rescue model itself is structurally flawed. The show treats failing bars as systems problems, when many are doomed by location, debt, or broader economic forces. A new concept doesn't fix a broken foundation, it just gives it branding, and audiences noticed. Online platforms did what cable never could. They slowed everything down. Rewatched the meltdowns, questioned the edits, compared outcomes. The illusion cracked. Taffer stopped looking like a savior and started looking like an actor repeating the same beats. And once the persona slipped, there wasn't much underneath to replace it. The Fox News comments weren't an anomaly. They aligned too cleanly with his long-standing contempt for labor, excuses, and vulnerability.
Equipment issues. I know the staff training issues, and I know the issues with Mark and Ozzy. It's time to shut this down.
The mask didn't fall. It fit. What once looked like tough love curdled into something uglier, a belief that pressure justifies cruelty. Bar Rescue still exists, but it feels like television from another timeline. Taffer still yells, it just echoes now. He didn't adapt, he doubled down. And in a media economy built on relevance, doubling down on irrelevance isn't a comeback, it's a slow fade. Jon Taffer didn't rise because he was pure fiction. Some of his advice worked, some bars improved, some owners needed a wake-up call. For a moment, he embodied a fantasy people wanted to believe in, that failure has a clear villain, and authority, loud, confident, unapologetic, can fix anything. But that fantasy had an expiration date. As culture shifted, yelling stopped reading as leadership and started sounding like leftover noise from a different decade. Once people questioned the systems behind Bar Rescue, the staging, the ethics, the long-term impact, the illusion collapsed. What remained wasn't a misunderstood expert, but a persona that couldn't evolve. Jon Taffer wasn't canceled, he was outgrown.
Yeah.
That's what's going on here from an alcohol standpoint. You're busted.
He represents a very specific era of reality TV, one obsessed with domination, certainty, and spectacle. That era passed. The shouting stayed. And without the fantasy holding it up, the act felt hollow. So like the video. Subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments which TV expert should probably stop fixing businesses and start fixing their own reputation instead.